Hello and welcome. Inktense. You all know them from Derwent. They're bright, they're vibrant, they are in your face colors. Yay! I do not deny this, and I do not even dislike them for that. I think they're quite cool. The reason why I don't really use, especially the pencils, so much is not because I dislike them, it is because there's a color shift. And that's my cat in the background. Yeah, there's a color shift that is disturbing me a little bit. For some reason it doesn't disturb me with the blocks so much. Maybe because it reminds me more of just watercolor pens. Anyways, I'm not good at using my pencils. Well, some of them have been used, obviously. Some more than others. And this bunch here, they turn the wrong way because these are the guys I want to talk to you about. Just because I was bored or curious or both, I picked this bunch out and started playing with them. These are all the ones that's named something with ink or gray. So in random order, Payne's gray, Chinese ink, Indian ink, charcoal gray, sepia ink, neutral gray, and ink black. There you go. I already swatched them out, and I used the outliner pencil that is in here as well for a loose sketch of an elephant. And the paper today is Canson Sacrin or Sacran. I'm not good at French. I barely passed in school. Yeah, so it's just half a sheet of A3, which is a A4. So I quite like them because I'm just gonna try and find the outliner. Well, let's talk here. The Payne's gray is like a Payne's gray, and the sepia is like a sepia, and the black is like a black. But there's like a slight difference between like the Chinese ink, which is also black. It's a slightly warmer uh, black than the neutral, and this is also the ink black is also warmer than the neutral gray. But this is maybe a little warmer than that one. So there's a little difference there. The charcoal gray is actually green, and it looks more green on my paper than it actually does on my screen. The Indian ink is is having like a slightly yellow undertone, and yeah, the sepia is kind of reddish. That's normal. It's usually a warmish gray black, and the Payne's gray is bluish. So I thought that was perfect colors to do an elephant with, and I couldn't find any suitable for me. What they called? That was the outliner. Reference photo, so it's just kind of a more or less from memory and recent observations that I drew this up. The ear is a little goofy, but um, let's give it a go. The white will come last. I want to do a background, and for that I want the Payne's gray. They're a little difficult to tell apart from just the dip end there. There's the charcoal gray. I want to eat that one, and I need Payne's gray. Those two. And I might shift to speed drawing when I run out of things to say, by the way. So it's a big animal, so the horizon will probably be a bit further down. I prefer the blocks to the pencils, to be honest. The light fastness of it is a little better for some really weird reason. But I like it because I just use the blocks like I would use a regular watercolor pen. I just run my wet brush on it. So, but I have heard people say the opposite, so good thing there's options for people. There's also their watercolor pen set. I don't have that either. Um, I think I got enough in the pencils and the blocks, and I don't use either very much, so buying the watercolor pens seems a little over the top. And I'm doing the background first so that I get an idea about how light and dark I want the elephant itself. This brush is from Derwent. It's a Cosmotop spin with a point. And it takes a little while to get wet actually. I think it's because it's still fairly new and I haven't used it all that much. But once it gets going, it holds tons and tons of water. I should probably go and wash it out with some brush soap. This is probably still got a little bit of the sizing in it from when it was brand new. So how well these pencils blend out with water, I find very much depends on the water, not on the water, on the paper. Some papers allow it more than others. This is a drawing paper that is allowing some wet media. And it bends a little bit here now. I make such a large wet area. Not too bad. It's actually quite nice paper. But it's paper that is meant for graphite and charcoal and stuff like that. So it's made to hold on to stuff. So we get a little bit of texture left. That's okay. Doesn't matter. Can look a little rough. It's fine. I better let it. No, we had that a little bit here. Be under the belly. I might go over it and adjust some things later. This is just the beginning. But better let it dry before I do anything more, because I don't want things to run around and mingle uncontrollably. So it is dry now, and now it curves the other way. That's how it is when you use a slightly thin paper with water. I'm trying to find the neutral gray. That one. So I'm gonna do a base color with that, and then adjust things with the other colors afterwards. I'm just gonna add this where I want things to be dark, and then I hope I can spread it out from there. If you have something like this where your lines might stay, you might want to put them in places where you actually want them. So don't do a random scribble, because that will ruin the whole thing. Here I'm doing, as I said, shady areas, like the bottom of the wrinkles of the trunk and stuff like that. should have pulled up some sort of reference photo for all the wrinkles on the body. It looks kind of coarse now. I hope that it softens out as we go. Looks kind of horrible right now. So let's call this part of the ugly state. See, it bleeds out just nicely. Oops. Works just as I hoped it would. Time to let it dry again. It's not super dry, but let's just try. Sepia. I want to warm up the colors a couple of places. Places where I imagine there's thinner skin. For instance, like tip of the trunk. At the ears, where there's more blood flow. Also, Inktense has a little bit of spots on the face and the ears, so I'm gonna go with that. Here, where the forehead is, they often kind of pink here, but I don't have a pink. I got a sepia color here. Could have done this on watercolor paper, but I wanted to try this paper, so that's what we go with. I'm trying to work a little fast so I don't get too nitty-gritty and precious about too many details. This is something I sometimes do. Sometimes it's good, and other times it kind of ruins everything because I then mess things up. I'm trying to find the Chinese charcoal again. Or not Chinese charcoal, the charcoal gray. It's neutral. Charcoal gray, because I want it up here to reflect onto the underside, because I imagine the sun is hitting the ground and reflecting back up, so some of the that green reflects, at least on the parts of it. Yeah, so let's just speed this up. The next steps here is add colors, paint them out, add more colors, paint them out, and correct things and shades and add grass and things like that. They're quite nice to use. The color shift bothered me a lot less than it did last time I used them, so maybe I should go back to use them. The white is not as white as I had hoped for. I think the block is more opaque, to be honest. I need to test that. And it was a fun experiment to do. And I think you should, if you got the set, you should test these colors out. If you if you think there's something missing, there's, I don't know, 60 more colors, 60 plus more colors to add. These reminded me of Graphitint, to be honest, and they layer just super nice. And if you lay them down heavy and you just lightly run over with water and you doesn't get activated all the pencil mark that you put down, if you come over with water again later, that might activate after all. Once they are fully activated and fully dry, they don't activate anymore when you add more water. So, but it really requires that you have everything activated at one point or another before they are totally non-water soluble anymore. And yeah, I kind of liked how my elephant turned out. I'm definitely gonna try this palette again. I'm not gonna do anything more because I kind of got to the point where I wanted to be. So I'm gonna cover that up so you can kind of get an idea of how this is gonna be. Thank you for watching, and please try and give the grays and the inks from Inktense a try. They're really really interesting to work with. And you think if you think that's too limited a palette, there's a whole bunch more in the package if you got the big 72 set. I totally enjoyed these, and it could be a way to kind of see if you like this type of colors. If you got that whole Inktense sets, and I know lots of people have them, and I'm quite sure lots of people do not really use these much. What these reminds me of is actually the Graphitint, also from Derwent. It's not quite the same, but the color scheme is got kind of the same feel to it, and they're super fun. I could do more layers, but you don't want to be here all day. Um, and the outline pencil, I want to talk about that a little bit. It's like a regular colored pencil, a wax pencil. Is that one? It it's black and it ha is easy to put on lightly, so it has a good grayscale variation, but it doesn't move with water. It's not water soluble. It stays there pretty much. I'm not sure if that was because it did lift a little bit or if my brush was still a little dirty, but by and large it doesn't move. So you can either use it as a sketch underneath, or you can outline things if there's something you want to make sure you get your details in. I found it very pleasant to work with, and I have never really used it, and which is a shame. It is so unused that this hasn't even been sharpened ever yet. But I will definitely, I think I'll take it out of the set and have it because I am quite sure I would like to sketch with it for other things. So I can't really think of much else to say. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and come back. Do all kinds of weird art stuff and fun, I hope. Bye.